Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today we're going to do a woman to woman. I haven't done one of these in quite some time I think, so if you have any topic requests for more of these videos, always make sure you leave them down below, because I struggle to come up with topics for these videos and I know that so many of you really enjoy them, so I really love doing them, but they are harder to come up with a topic for. I don't always have like a topic that just pops into my head. But today I wanted to talk about something that isn't necessarily to do with kind of body image and that kind of thing. It's more to do with mental health and self-care. And self-care is one of those terms that I think a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at, and it very much sounds like it's a very millennial term. It's not something that was necessarily something that was at the forefront of people's minds like 10-15 years ago, but it's become very much something that's part of our everyday life at the moment, like nowadays. And it's something that I do feel very strongly about, because I'm in no way, shape or form coming from a place of maybe belittling or kind of playing down people who do suffer from genuine mental illness problems and have genuine problems with their mental health, people who suffer from depression. And the thing is, it is so common. Like, I know so many people who struggle with depression to varying degrees, and they have various coping mechanisms. Some people take medications, some people have therapy, some people try kind of a more holistic approach. There's so many different ways to go about it, and it's something that I think so many people do really struggle with. But something that is less talked about, and something that I struggle with a little bit, is people who just have forms of anxiety. And I know that that also can cause a lot of eye rolls with people when you say, oh, I have anxiety, because it's kind of almost become like a trendy term, and people don't necessarily, like, you know, aren't diagnosed with it per se. They just go ahead and say like, oh, I suffer from anxiety, and it ends up being something that isn't taken very seriously because it's become such a trendy kind of just term that gets thrown around. But I actually think that it's such a normal term, if that makes sense. Like, it is something that for various reasons, through various stages, all of us do struggle with, and do struggle with feeling a little bit down and feeling negative. And if you are somebody who is a little bit more on the negative side rather than the positive side, which is definitely me, I'm somebody who's very negative. I'm very negative about myself, I'm very negative about certain situations. I always see the glass half empty rather than half full. And there are small things that I've recently kind of found myself implementing that I do find to be very helpful for my mental state, because recently I've had such a stressful time with loads of changes that we've made and worrying about money and all these kinds of different things. I'm gonna have a sip of my tea. I've got a little bit of toothache today, like this tooth right here. It was bugging me last night, and then you know when you start to become aware of something, it was bugging me. So then of course I had to not leave it alone and kept fiddling with it with my tongue. And now it's really bugging me. You know when you're just like, I'm not sure if the camera angle is correct either. I feel like it's sort of a bit weird, and I'm always wearing fuzzy jumpers in these videos because it's so bloody cold still that I look even more massive than I already am. See, because I'm negative. And I know you guys don't like it when I do that, so I try not to do it. But yeah, I have been under so much pressure lately, and a lot of it, to be fair, is kind of financial and just lots of different things, that I almost have to give myself kind of like a mental reboot sometimes, where I am not somebody who is holistic in any way, shape or form. I kind of wish I was, because I want to believe in all of that kind of thing, but I'm not. I'm just, like I said, too negative and too kind of pessimistic and realistic to buy into that whole kind of thing. And it's kind of like it's everywhere at the moment. Like, I recently had to unfollow someone on Instagram who I'd followed for a really long time, but this person kept constantly putting up pictures of like crystals and all these types of things, and like, you know, it was totally fine. She genuinely believed in it and that was fine, but it kept coming up and I kept feeling like, oh, not that again, because I'm just not like that as a person, and I know that there are so many people out there who are not like that, and we need a more realistic coping mechanism to deal with just everyday stress, because like life now is stressful. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was very stressful like years and years ago when you had to go out and hunt for your own food and build your own fires and all that shit. But I'm pretty sure that it's very stressful now as well. And we're all trying to do so much and stay on top of so many things. And sometimes it's like weird, like almost unimportant things that kind of make me feel like I'm feeling very anxious. So for example, if my house is untidy, that makes me feel so anxious and I feel like my head isn't clear, I can't think properly. I need a clear, clean environment around me in order for me to be able to focus properly and for me to be able to function to the best of my abilities. And every day, like especially at the moment, because we're trying to set up a business and we're trying to sort the house out and all sorts of different things, I have a list of what I want to achieve every single day. And yesterday I achieved everything that was on my to-do list yesterday, like literally everything. So I felt really good. But I still was, you know, like it was like 8:30 and I was cleaning my kitchen because that was part of my to-do list and I wanted to get everything done. And just finding the time to fit everything in, you know, like whatever you've got going on is difficult at the best of times. And I think a lot of us give ourselves a hard time because there's that thing, isn't there, where it's like you have to kind of be a boss every day and achieve so much every single day, and you want to do this, do that every single day, all the time. And some days you have to just sort of do almost like a mental reboot and say to yourself, okay, well, I didn't achieve everything that I needed to achieve today. That sucks. Why didn't I achieve it? Was it because you were watching TV, or was it because you were doing something else, or all sorts of different reasons? And then kind of say to yourself, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to do this, that, the other. Tomorrow I'm going to achieve this, that, the other. And kind of like just decompartmentalize it in your brain so that you can feel a little bit more relaxed. And one thing that does really help me is drinking copious amounts of green tea. People always think that you're being really poncy when you say that you drink green tea, don't they? They think like you're like, ooh, aren't you fancy? Why don't you just drink like a normal brew with milk? Firstly, this is very controversial, and I'm pretty sure that like I shouldn't be allowed to live in England because I don't like gravy, I don't particularly like chips, and I really do not get tea with milk. Why is that a thing? I just feel like the two flavours don't go and it's just weird. So I never drink it with milk, and regular like just Builder's brew, it's with milk. So green tea is my thing, and I actually genuinely really like it. I just have green tea with a little bit of sweetener, green tea with lemon, and it's yum. Like it's really nice, but people seem to really hate it, don't they? Like, I get certain herbal teas like chamomile tea, it's a bit gross. I won't say what I think it tastes like, but it's a bit gross, but green tea's yum. I feel like when I'm feeling a little bit anxious and a little bit overwhelmed, and I do get overwhelmed about really stupid things, I'm not great at doing tons of things at once, and I'm not a great multi-tasker in terms, which is the same as what I just said, but I'm not a great multitasker in terms of doing it kind of in a calm manner as well. I'm quite a calm person, but I get stressed very easily, and I like things to go a certain way, and if I have a plan and it doesn't go how I want it, then I do get really anxious and stressed and kind of like volatile a little bit. And I find that something that really does help me with kind of like just quietening my mind a little bit and just chilling out is reading. Reading really helps me. I haven't read the last couple of days actually because I finished my book and I haven't managed to get to some of my books are still in boxes downstairs, and I haven't managed to get to the ones that I wanted where there were new books, but I'm going to do that in a minute because I do find that really helps my mental state. Also, something that sounds really trivial but helps me massively is if I just go and fill a bath and do that. I find that really helps me. And sometimes I think you do need to just kind of take a moment to just chill, and that it's okay to chill. And I'm somebody who, I've got a very kind of busy brain, and I like to always be doing more than one thing at once. So for example, if I'm cleaning, I always have to be watching or listening to something in the background. It can be a podcast. I listen to podcasts a lot. If you want any podcast recommendations, actually, the Emma G show by Emma Gunnar-Wardener is awesome. I listen to that every week. I love that. I also listen to what's it called? The Full Coverage, which is the beauty podcast. I listen to mainly sort of beauty related ones, but I want to start listening to kind of true crime ones because I do find those really fascinating, although those don't help my mental state a little bit because I find myself thinking about them when I'm trying to go to sleep and almost like trying to solve the case before I go to bed, which is not conducive at all. And yeah, that's something that I kind of leave me recommendations for ones because I will watch them when I'm tidying and that kind of thing, of like crime ones that are like really good, really like interesting ones because I love those. But I always have to be doing something like that, and sometimes I think that almost does make your mind even more overactive because you're not concentrating, but I need it to be able to kind of function. I need to be doing something, otherwise I just like, I get really bored. But doing small, it is almost like small acts of kindness to yourself every day. And if you're not somebody, like I said, who believes in crystals and who believes in like doing like positive affirmations and that kind of thing, I'm so not that person. I'm just really, really not. And the thing is, I'm somebody who would benefit massively from that because I am somebody who does get quite anxious and quite stressed and who does need that kind of like moment, but I have to go about it in a slightly different way because if I do that, I just end up rolling. If I see anything like that, I roll my eyes and I'm like, oh, whatever. Like it's just annoying. It's just not my thing. And I wish it was because I think it is actually really, really positive, but it's just not who I am. I'm not kind of, my imagination isn't that good almost. But I will just sort of say to myself sometimes, like, this is something actually that is very much a positive affirmation, and I've just realised that I do definitely do this, is I will say to myself, I'll make myself say to myself, it could be worse. It could be this, that, the other. And if I am doing something that I think is destructive, so you know certain things like looking on social media and stuff can be destructive. If I'm doing something like that, I will force myself to not do it. And then when something good happens, I say to myself, see, like this good thing happened and you didn't do that negative thing. So you're almost being like cosmically rewarded, which is really like kind of alternative. And I know that it's not that, but that is kind of what I tell myself, and I find that it works. And I like to really, it sound, you can't help but talk about this topic without sounding like that, but I do really try and concentrate on like kindness and things. And like everybody likes a bit of gossip, but I really do try and not say unkind things about people. And I try my best to try and just be respectful of other people, and like I'll sort of tell myself that, you know, if you do this and you've achieved all of that, then, you know, something good will come your way because you've done everything that you needed to do. And I do kind of think it almost is like the law of attraction type of thing. I don't believe in the whole like the secret thing, and that's again too sort of out there for me. But I will try and sort of tell myself that, and I do find that it's helpful. So it kind of does get in your subconscious mind in a way. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to kind of talk to you about this, about kind of feeling anxious and self-care and what self-care means to you, and that as much as it sounds like a poncy millennial pink with my pink mug. I love this mug, by the way. It was from Morrison's, and I just think the colour is really gorgeous, and that it looks like it could have been from like Anthropology or somewhere. Yeah, what was I saying? This is me being concise. Yeah, I definitely do think that we kind of all need to just keep an eye on how you're feeling, and that it's okay to kind of talk about it, and it's okay to want to be on top of like, how am I feeling today? How do I feel about this? Just kind of doing like a mental scan and sort of adjusting things a little bit. It's good, it's helpful, it's important. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts about this topic in the comments down below. I feel like there's going to be a lot of comments on this, and if you have any requests for more topics, then I would love to hear them as well. And I'm going to love you and leave you now because we're at nearly